May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us, brothers and sisters. I pray that you are all well. We will be continuing with Amos chapter 1. The word of Amos, who was among the herdmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake. And he said, Our father will roar from Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the habitations of the shepherds will mourn, and the top of Carmel will wither. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have threshed Gilead with threshing instruments of iron. But I will send a fire into the house of Hazael, which will devour the palaces of Benhadad. I will break also the bar of Damascus, and cut off the inhabitant from the plain of Aven, and him that holds the scepter from the house of Eden. And the people of Syria will go into captivity to Kir, says our Father in heaven. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom. But I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which will devour the palaces thereof. And I will cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod, and him that holds the scepter from Ashkelon. And I will turn my hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines will perish, says our Father in heaven. This says our Father, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant. But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which will devour the palaces thereof. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. But I will send a fire upon Teman, which will devour the palaces of Basra. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have ripped up the women with child of Gilead, that they might enlarge their border. But I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbah, and it will devour the palaces thereof with shouting in the day of battle, with a tempest in the day of the whirlwind, and their king will go into captivity, he and his princes together, says our Father in heaven. Chapter 2. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime. But I will send a fire upon Moab, and it will devour the palaces of Kerioth. And Moab will die with tumult, with shouting, and with the sound of the trumpet. And I will cut off the judge from the midst thereof, and will slay all the princes thereof with him, says our Father in heaven. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of Judah, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have despised the law of our Father in heaven, and have not kept his commandments, and their lies caused them to err after the which their fathers have walked. But I will send a fire upon Judah, and it will devour the palaces of Jerusalem. This says our Father in heaven, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4 I will not turn away the judgment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes. That paint after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek. And a man and his father will go in to the same maid to profane my holy name. And they lay themselves down upon clothes laid to pledge by every altar, and they drink wine of the condemned in the house of their Elohim. Yet destroyed I the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks. Yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. Also I brought you up from the land of Egypt, and led you 40 years through the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorite. And I raised up of your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. It is not even this, O you children of Israel, says our Father in heaven. But you gave the Nazarites wine to drink, and commanded the prophets, saying, Prophesy not. Behold, I am pressed under you, as a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves. Therefore the flight will perish from the swift, and the strong will not strengthen his force, neither will the mighty deliver himself. Neither will he stand that handles the bow, and he that is swift of foot will not deliver himself. Neither will he that rides the horse deliver himself. And he that is courageous among the mighty will flee away naked in that day, says our Father in heaven. Chapter 3. Hear this word that our Father has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Will a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no gin is for him? Will one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Will a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Will there be evil in a city and our Father has not done it? Surely our Father will do nothing, but he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. The lion has roared. Who will not fear? Our Father in heaven has spoken. Who can but prophesy? Publish in the palaces of Ashdod and in the palaces in the land of Egypt, and say, Assemble yourselves upon the mountains of Samaria, and behold, the great tumults in the midst thereof, and the oppressed in the midst thereof. For they know not to do right, says our Father in heaven, who store up violence and robbery in their palaces. Therefore, this says our Father in heaven, in adversity there will even be round about the land, and he will bring down your strength from you, and your palaces will be spoiled. This says our Father in heaven, as a shepherd takes out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear, so will the children of Israel be taken out that dwell in Samaria in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus in a couch. Hear you, and testify in the house of Jacob, says our Father in heaven, the Elohim of hosts, that in the day that I will visit the transgressions of Israel, upon him I will also visit the altars of Bethel, and the horns of the altar will be cut off and fall to the ground. And I will smite the winter house with the summer house, and the houses of ivory will perish, and the great houses will have an end, says our Father in heaven. Chapter 4. Hear this word, you kine of Bashan, that are in the mountain of Samaria, which oppress the poor, which crush the needy, which say to their masters, Bring and let us drink. Our Father has sworn by his holiness that, lo, the days will come upon you, that he will take you away with hooks, and your posterity with fish hooks. And you will go out at the breaches, every cow at that which is before her, and you will cast them into the palace, says our Father in heaven. Come to Bethel, and transgress at Gilgal. Multiply transgressions, and bring your sacrifices every morning, and your tithes after 3 years. And offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving with leaven, and proclaim and publish the free offerings. And for this likes you, O you children of Israel, says our Father in heaven. And I also have given you cleanness of teeth in all your cities, and want of bread in all your places. Yet have you not returned to me, says our Father in heaven? And also I have withholden the rain from you, when there were yet 3 months to the harvest, and I caused it to rain upon one city, and caused it not to rain upon another city. One piece was rained upon, and the piece whereupon it rained not withered. So 2 or 3 cities wandered to one city to drink water, but they were not satisfied. Yet have you not returned to me, says our Father in heaven? I have smitten you with blasting and mildew, when your gardens and your vineyards and your fig trees and your olive trees increased. The palmer worm devoured them, yet have you not returned to me, says our Father in heaven. I have sent among you the pestilence after the manner of Egypt. Your young men have I slain with the sword, and have taken away your horses, and I have made the stink of your camps to come up to your nostrils. Yet have you not returned to me, says our Father in heaven. I have overthrown some of you, as our father overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and you were as a firebrand plucked out of the burning. Yet have you not returned to me, says our Father in heaven. Therefore this will I do to you, O Israel, and because I will do this to you, prepare to meet your Elohim, O Israel. For lo, he that forms the mountains and creates the wind and declares to man what is his thought, that makes the morning darkness and treads upon the high places of the earth. Our Father, the Elohim of hosts, is his name. Chapter 5. Hear you this word which I take up against you, even a lamentation, O house of Israel. The virgin of Israel is fallen. She will no more rise. She is forsaken upon her land. There is none to raise her up. For this says our Father in heaven, the city that went out by 1,000 will leave 100, and that which went forth by 100 will leave 10 to the house of Israel. For this says our Father in heaven to the house of Israel, seek you me, and you will live, but seek not Bethel, nor enter into Gilgal, and pass not to Beersheba. For Gilgal will surely go into captivity, and Bethel will come to naught. Seek our Father in heaven, and you will live, unless he breaks out like fire in the house of Joseph and devour it. There be none to quench it in Bethel. You who turn judgment to wormwood, and leave off righteousness in the earth, seek him that makes the 7 stars in Orion, and turns the shadow of death into the morning, and makes the day dark with night, that calls for the waters of the sea, and pours them out upon the face of the earth. Our Father is his name. That strengthens the spoiled against the strong, so that the spoiled will come against the fortress. They hate him that rebukes in the gate, and they abhor him that speaks uprightly. For as much, therefore, as your treading is upon the poor, and you take from him burdens of wheat, you have built houses of hewn stone, but you will not dwell in them. You have planted pleasant vineyards, but you will not drink wine of them. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just, they take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor in the gate from their right. Therefore, the prudent will keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, that you may live. And so our Father in heaven, the Elohim of hosts, will be with you, as you have spoken. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that our Father, Elohim of hosts, will be gracious to the remnant of Joseph. Therefore, our Father in heaven, the Elohim of hosts, the Master, says this: wailing will be in all the streets, and they will say in all the highways, Alas, alas! And they will call the husbandmen to mourning, and such as skillful of lamentation to wailing, and in all vineyards will be wailing, for I will pass through you, says our Father in heaven. Woe to you that desire the day of our Father in heaven! To what end is it for you? The day of our Father is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him, or went into the house, and leaned his hand on the wall, and the serpent bit him. Will not the day of our Father in heaven be darkness and not light? Even very dark and no brightness in it? I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though you offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take you away from me the noise of your songs, for I will not hear the melody of your viols. But let judgment run down as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. Have you offered to me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? But you have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and Chiyun, your images, the star of your Elohim, which you made to yourselves. Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, says our Father in heaven, whose name is the Elohim of hosts. Chapter 6. Woe to them that are at ease in Zion, and trust in the mountain of Samaria, which are named chief of the nations, to whom the house of Israel came. Pass you to Calneh and see, and from there go you to Hamath the great, then go down to Gath of the Philistines. Be they better than these kingdoms, or their border greater than your border? You that put far away the evil day, and cause the seat of violence to come near, that lie upon beds of ivory, and stretch themselves upon their couches, and eat the lambs out of the flock, and the calves out of the midst of the stall, that chant to the sound of the viol, and invent to themselves instruments of music like David, that drink wine in bowls, and anoint themselves with the chief ointments, but they are not grieved for the affliction of Joseph. Therefore now will they go captive with the first that go captive, and the banquet of them that stretch themselves will be removed. Our Father in heaven has sworn by himself, says our Father in heaven, the Elohim of hosts. I abhor the excellency of Jacob, and hate his palaces. Therefore will I deliver up the city, that all that is therein, with all that is therein. And it will come to pass, if there remain 10 men in one house, that they will die. And a man's uncle will take him up, and he that burns him, to bring out the bones out of the house, and will say to him that is by the sides of the house, Is there yet any with you? And he will say, No. Then will he say, Hold your tongue, for we may not make mention of the name of our Father in heaven. For behold, our Father in heaven commands, and he will smite the great house with breaches, and the little house with clefts. Will horses run upon the rock? Will one plow there with oxen? For you have turned judgment into gall, and the fruit of righteousness into hemlock. You which rejoice in a thing of naught, which say, Have we not taken to us horns by our own strength? But, behold, I will raise up against you a nation, O house of Israel, says our Father in heaven, the Elohim of hosts, and they will afflict you from the entering in of Hamath to the river of the wilderness. Chapter 7. This, says our Father in heaven, showed to me, and behold, he formed grasshoppers in the beginning of the shooting up of the latter growth, and lo, it was the latter growth after the king's mowings. And it came to pass that when they had made an end of eating the grass of the land, then I said, O Father, forgive, I beseech you. By whom will Jacob arise? For he is small. Our Father in heaven repents for this. It will not be, says our Father in heaven. This has our Father in heaven showed to me. And behold, our Father in heaven called to contend by fire, and it devoured the great deep, and did eat up a part. Then said I, O Father Elohim, cease, I beseech you. By whom will Jacob arise? For he is small. Our Father in heaven repented for this. This also will not be, says our Father in heaven. This he showed me, and behold, our Father stood upon a wall made by a plumb line, with a plumb line in his hand. And our Father said to me, Amos, what see you? And I said, A plumb line. Then said our Father in heaven, Behold, I will set a plumb line in the midst of my people Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. And the high places of Isaac will be desolate, and the sanctuaries of Israel will be laid waste. And I will rise against the house of Jeroboam with the sword. Then Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, sent to Jeroboam, king of Israel, saying, Amos has conspired against you in the midst of the house of Israel. The land is not able to bear all his words. For this Amos said, Jeroboam will die by the sword, and Israel will surely be led away captive out of their own land. Also Amaziah said to Amos, O you seer, go, flee you away into the land of Judah, and there eat bread and prophesy there. But prophesy not again any more at Bethel, for it is the king's chapel, and it is the king's court. Then answered Amos, and said to Amaziah, I was no prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was an herdman, and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. And our Father in heaven took me as I followed the flock, and our Father in heaven said to me, Go, prophesy to my people Israel. Now therefore, hear you the word of our Father in heaven. You say, Prophesy not against Israel, and drop not your word against the house of Isaac. Therefore, this says our Father in heaven, Your wife will be an harlot in the city, and your sons and your daughters will fall by the sword, and your land will be divided by line, and you will die in a polluted land, and Israel will surely go into captivity forth of his land. Chapter 8. This has our Father in heaven showed to me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what see you? And I said, A basket of summer fruit. Then said our Father in heaven to me, The end is come upon my people Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. And the songs of the temple will be howlings in that day, says our Father in heaven. There will be many dead bodies in every place. They will cast them forth with silence. Hear this, O you that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying, When will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn? And the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small, and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit, that we may buy the poor for silver, and the needy for a pair of shoes, and sell the refuse of the wheat. Our Father in heaven has sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works. Will not the land tremble for this, and every one mourn that dwells therein? And it will rise up wholly as a flood, and it will be cast out and drowned as by the flood of Egypt. And it will come to pass in that day, says our Father in heaven, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. And I will turn your feasts into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. And I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Behold, the days come, says our Father in heaven, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of our Father in heaven. And they will wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They will run to and fro to seek the word of our Father in heaven, and will not find it. In that day will the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. They that swear by the sin of Samaria, and say, Your Elohim, O Dan, lives, and the manner of Beersheba lives. Even they will fall and never rise up again. Chapter 9. I saw our Father in heaven standing upon the altar, and he said, Smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that flees of them will not flee away, and he that escapes of them will not be delivered. Though they dig into hell, thence will my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out there. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, there will I command the serpent, and he will bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, there will I command the sword, and it will slay them. And I will set my eyes upon them for evil and not for good. And our Father in heaven of hosts is he that touches the land, and he will melt. And all that dwell therein will mourn, and it will rise up wholly like a flood, and will be drowned as by the flood of Egypt. It is he that builds his stories in the heaven, and has founded his troop in the earth. He that calls for waters of the sea, and pours them out upon the face of the earth. Our Father in heaven is his name. Are you not as children of the Ethiopians to me, O children of Israel? Says our Father in heaven. Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker? Behold, The eyes of our Father in heaven are upon us, are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, says our Father in heaven. For, lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet will not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people will die by the sword, which say, the evil will not overtake nor prevent us. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and of all the heathen, which are called by my name, says our Father in heaven that does this. Behold, the days come, says our Father in heaven, that the plowman will overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him that sows seed, and the mountains will drop sweet wine, and all the hills will melt. And I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they will build the waste cities, and inhabit them, and they will plant vineyards, and drink the wine thereof. They will also make gardens, and eat the fruit of them, and I will plant them upon their land, and they will no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, says our Father in heaven, your Elohim. And brothers and sisters, we will continue with Obadiah, Father willing. May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Repent, the kingdom of heaven is near. Peace.